Good morning, everyone. Let me make sure I'm on the right tab. I just wanted to make sure I knew where all my stuff was. But welcome back to another chapter of Villainess level 99. We are going to be starting chapter 4, which is 30-some pages long, I believe I counted correctly in this PDF document. I may be the hidden boss, but I'm not the demon lord. It is written by Satori Tanabata and illustrated by T. And yeah, hold on. Page fit. There we go. But yeah, currently chapter 4 is talking about a dragon we're going to be meeting. So, woo, look. These are our characters. Last time we talked to Eleonora and dealt with her, like, adorable craziness. But now we are going to chapter 4. And we are almost actually halfway through this whole entire book. Or at least in page numbers we are. In page numbers from the whole document, we're halfway through the document. But chapter 4, the hidden boss meets a dragon. Go ahead, grab your juice, water, coffee, hot chocolate, whatever else you want to drink, tea, lemonade, all that good stuff. Currently, here we are. What's that prima donna's deal? I sighed. I think it's fine. Think of it as something you only have to deal with until graduation, and just be friends with her. Patrick and I were talking while walking side by side down a hallway at the academy. Eleonora hasn't seemed to have had enough of me and still talk to me all the time. I had been relying on Patrick, but he appeared to be amused seeing me be followed around by her. Patrick's like, "Oh look, you have another friend." I don't want to deal with the Duke's family. I've talked to Lady Eleanor a little bit. She's pretty strange, but she isn't a bad person. It wouldn't hurt you if you made a bit of an effort, Patrick remarked. I'll think about it, I groaned. Well, I'm heading back to my room now. Patrick really keeps pushing for us to get along. He knows you need friends. He's seen glimpses of the depression and the other shit. You need friends. And right now he's not sure if you consider him a friend. Having arrived in front of the dorms, I turned the corner and began walking in the opposite direction of Patrick, only to be stopped immediately. Oh, wait, Patrick called out. Are you going to the end-of-year party? I don't really care about social events, so I don't think I'll be going. I see, Patrick said after a moment. You should come if you change your mind. After saying goodbye to Patrick, I found myself thinking about the occasion while walking back to my room. The end-of-year party, huh? I muttered to myself. The school event was a proper sore way, as it doubled as social etiquette practice. In other words, it had nothing to do with me, so I figured it was fine to miss it. Oh, right. In the game, there was an event where you sneak out of the party venue for the love interest with the highest affection parameter. I did want to see whose route Alicia was currently going down, though it may not actually be useful information since we had already gone quite off track from the game story. I would be grateful if she were going down the main story, Prince Edwin's route. If that were the case, she would defeat the Demon Lord and then get engaged to the prince as the second coming of the Sanctus, leaving me completely unaffected. At least, ideally, she would. I already told Patrick I wouldn't be attending. But perhaps it would be alright for me to show my face for a bit. The various thoughts swimming through my mind kept me from noticing someone's presence near me. Suddenly a voice called out to me from point-blank range. Emilia! Have you decided on your dress for the end of year party? Whoa, it's her again. Recently I had gotten somewhat used to her, and my responses were becoming superbly perfunctory? I don't know how to pronounce words, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. My dress. I can't wear my uniform? You absolutely cannot. We're going to wear fabulous dresses and dance. But I don't have a dance partner, I tried to reason. What? You have Patrick, don't you? The double ringlet-haired prima donna was saying something funny. Why is Patrick's name coming up? I knew how to dance. We had simple lessons at the academy, and I could probably dance pretty well if I used my physical abilities to their fullest for once. After all, it was a school event. It might be good to attend. The only thing was, did I even have a dress? Patrick doesn't have anything to do with this. Also, I don't have a dress. I see. If we had one made, it wouldn't be ready in time, then. I shall lend you one of mine. Let's pick it out together. I said I didn't have a dress, but it would have been more correct to say that I didn't know if I had a dress. I had spent the past year alternating only between my uniform and pajamas. I feel like there's a closet in my room. Maybe. After successfully shaking off Eleonora, I returned to my dorm. Hey Rita, do I own any dresses? Rita's eyes widened. How unusual for you to be concerned with dresses, my lady. You don't have to be so surprised. Since she was sent by my parents, Rita continued to relay their instructions to me. Just the other day, she had mentioned talks of an arranged marriage for the umpteenth time, which I brilliantly ignored. Rita had resigned to just relaying their messages rather than trying to get me to uphold their instructions because I always refused to listen. I need one for the end-of-year party. If we don't have one, I can just wear my uniform. Nonsense! This party is a special occasion, my lady. Let's do makeup as well. Makeup is unnecessary. Rita performed her job as a maid perfectly, and the tea she made was wonderful. I just wish that she would stop trying to take every chance she could to get me to dress up. I don't care about whether it's common sense or not in this world. Students shouldn't be wearing makeup. So, do we have any dresses? Well, we do, but Rita replied vaguely. She made her way to the closet and opened the doors to show me what was inside. Oh, I see. The closet was filled with a plethora of fabulous dresses. The pastel colored dresses hurt my eyes. Oh, wow, I managed to force out. Oh, wonderful. These frills and ribbons are so exaggerated and totally awesome. The mistress ordered these, Rita responded to my sarcasm. I wonder how old this mother of mine thought I was. The dresses, which there were several of, were all warm colors, like pink and yellow. They were tailored to the measurements of my uniform, so sizing didn't seem like it would be an issue, but that made me more uncomfortable. Something a little plainer would be nice, like black or white. White is for weddings, and black is for funerals, Rita stated matter-of-factly. Then how about brown or gray? They're not really common colors. Why not? I don't dislike gray. Just then I heard the sound of a knock, followed by someone's voice. Delivery for Lady Dolkness. I'll get it, Rita offered. I'll leave handling the guests to her. It's unfortunate, but I guess I'll give up on the end-of-year party. Wait, unfortunate? I didn't think I was particularly looking forward to the party. So why does it feel unfortunate? Rita returned while I was still pondering. It's from Her Majesty. It appeared that the guest brought a gift sent by the Queen. I had already received several gifts from the Queen, such as teas and treats. However, this gift looked different. What is that? Isn't it kind of big? Rita was holding a bag about as tall as her. It was the perfect size to hold a dress. Could it really be? What kind of timing was this? I'm going to open it, Rita said, unveiling the gift. As expected, is a dress. The gift was a red dress. It was a kind of red that could be described as deep, refined, and perhaps wine-like. Wow, this crimson dress will look really good on you, my lady. My lack of vocabulary felt like it was on display. It's called crimson red, huh? I should have taken a color assessment or something. Well, I don't think it'll fit, I declared. Let's try it on. Rita was more aggressive than usual, and she pushed me to try on the dress. The sleeveless sheath silhouette design was perfect for my body shape. Wait, why does she know my size? And now we are at a section. I think I left my water by my dryer earlier. The day of the end-of-year party arrived, and students dressed to the nines were gathered in the hall at the academy. Looking at the glittering chandelier and the young men and women dancing in an open space underneath it left me dying to leave. The hall fell silent as I walked in. I continued walking into the venue without care, despite all the eyes I could feel gathering on me. Slowly, whispers started to buzz around, likely about things such as my dress being dyed crimson from blood splatter. It was easy to tell even without listening in. There was one person headed in my direction while everyone else kept their distance. Eleonora, who had been a bit far from where I was, made a beeline toward me upon spotting me entering the hall. She adored her dress, seemingly accustomed to this sort of event. Well, Emilia, I guess you decided to attend after all, she said happily. Hello, Lady Eleonora. Did you not ask Patrick to escort you? I wanted to ask why Patrick Edwin wasn't escorting her, while Prince Edwin wasn't escorting her, but that was something I wouldn't say no matter what. I had confirmed that Patrick would be something I wouldn't say no. I had confirmed that Patrick would be attending, but other than that, we hadn't talked about the party at all. He was popular with the provincial aristocrats, regardless of gender, so there was a chance he had made plans to escort someone else. Why are you bringing up Patrick? I asked, genuinely confused. Is it because I don't spend time with anyone else? Eleanor needs to stop making everything about romance, huh? That's because you're... Emilia, you came, a voice called out as if to interrupt Eleonora. I'll go somewhere else, so I don't bother you two, she said before hastily leaving the scene. Her consideration is unnecessary. There are no unrequited or recorded feelings between Patrick and me. I turned around to find Patrick, just as I had expected. I always recognized his voice. I kind of felt like coming, I explained, but I was just thinking that I would leave after all. Wearing this dress is actually a little embarrassing. Patrick hadn't responded to anything I said and stood there frozen and wide-eyed. Patrick? Oh, this illustration is pretty. Confused by his reaction and lack of response, I took a step closer to him, only for Patrick to take an immediate step back. What's wrong? I asked. Nothing. There's no way it's nothing. Patrick's gaze darted around suspiciously. Really? What's wrong, Patrick? Are you looking for someone? It's nothing. What is up with him? Is he really looking for someone or... Oh, I know. It wouldn't be unusual for Patrick to have a crush on a girl or two. It wouldn't be good for him if she were to see us together. I guess I'll be considerate now and leave. How sad. I'll be going then. Wait, Patrick said with an uncharacteristically serious face. He had grabbed my arm to stop me, which made my heart skip a beat. Was it because of how warm his hand was? I mean, this dress doesn't have any sleeves. It's fine if it's only one song, but will you honor me with a dance? Honor you with a dance sounds so aristocratic. I should also be happy about it, like an aristocrat, and say something back. Sure. Oh no, that came off as kind of cold. That response is very you, Patrick said with a small smile. I guess it was okay. In an area off to the side of from the center of the hall, Patrick and I began dancing hand in hand. In my mind, I was able to dance perfectly, and I had confidence in moving my body, so why were my movements coming out so disjointed? I was envious of Patrick, who was perfectly taking the lead. You can step on my feet, just relax more. You don't mind having your feet crushed. Hey, stepping on and stomping on are two different things. As we bantered like we normally did, I started to get used to dancing, and my body began to moving smoothly with the music. With a bit more room to breathe, I was able to peer around at my surroundings. There were a lot of eyes on me, especially those of male students. They must have felt like they were seeing a battle robot suddenly start dancing. Aren't there too many people staring? It's because you're pretty. What? What are you saying? And without hesitation, I need to calm down. I'm not someone whose feelings get swayed by social pleasantries, but my hands are starting to sweat. What should I do? If you say things like that to just anyone, people won't believe you, I said, attempting to collect myself. I don't know if you're just dense or, well, there's no way I could give a proper response to some social pleasantry. Actually, I'm the dense one today. I finally realized that my only thoughts were about my sweaty palms, so the moment the song ended, I quickly let go of his hands and wiped mine on my dress. What were you saying? Then I realized that might have been rude. Oh, that wasn't because your hands were dirty or anything. It's just my sweat. I know. Never mind, Patrick responded, slightly annoyed. Dude was trying to flirt and you aren't getting it, and I feel bad for Patrick. Patrick, my husband's been in your spot. Dense people, we're not gonna get it, I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to be blunt with us. I'm sorry, my instinct was so bad. Well, time to leave. Just as I was about to ask Patrick what his plans were after the dance, a voice came to my side. Lady Emilia, will you honor me with a dance? The offer looked like it came from an upper-level student. Who are you? I could hear Patrick sucking his teeth. Oh, I get it. I don't know the details, but this guy must not get along with Patrick. This is a job for my finishing blow. I'm only interested in people stronger than me. Oh, I see, he responded with a blank look. Dejected, he backed off. Nice! I drove him off, Patrick. Your type is strong people? Patrick was muttering something with a serious look on his face. Are you okay? I love this, and we're gonna go continue on to the next part. The end of year party was over, and the long spring break was before us. I was suddenly being invited to have a tea party or attend parties by many students. The students who were cautiously talking to me were probably being told by their families to invite me. Each time I turned them down, I was met with a complicated expression that looked to be a mix of relief and a hint of disappointment. Naturally, my family had told me to return home. The invitation came with the objective of trying to introduce me to someone wonderful, which they didn't seem to have any intention of hiding. Above all, I don't think that they can call going to a house I've never been to before to visit people I've never met going home. There was somewhere I desperately wanted to go during the spring break. I was going to go even if I wasn't invited, but impossible. It would be better to be invited. I wasn't sure if my feelings got through to her, but just 3 days before the break, the girl I was waiting for finally came to talk to me. Lady Emilia, there's something I'd like to talk to you about. Sure, I can talk, Jessica. Also, you can drop the lady. No need for formalities. The girl whose invitation I was waiting for was Jessica Montford. In the game, she was Alicia's friend. She spoke kindly to Alicia, who was having trouble fitting in at the academy, and with similar commoner-like values, the two became fast friends. Jessica shared basic aristocratic information that would help Alicia and helped with progressing the game. She was a supporting character. In reality, Alicia got close to the love interest almost immediately, so the two never developed a friendship. I'd never spoken to Jessica before, but I needed to go to her house. Well then, Emilia, you must have plans during the long break, right? She asked, while twitching like a small animal. Not at all. My schedule is completely empty. So please invite me to your house. A A dragon appeared near the Montfort barony where my home is. Currently only livestock have been harmed, but people can be harmed at any moment. The Central Army won't get involved until a person is injured, so I thought maybe you could do something about it, but there's no way you can, right? Naturally, I immediately responded, let's go and get rid of that dragon. I didn't think that it would go so smoothly. This was an important event in the game. Jessica would have asked her friend Alicia for help during the crisis at her barony, but because of my effects as an abnormality, they never became friends. This led Jessica to resort to desperate measures and come to me instead. Of course, there was a reason I accepted her request. The reward for this event was very attractive. Is it really all right? Jessica seemed perplexed at my willingness. You can be happy about this. I am also happy that you came to me. Patrick invited me to visit the Margraves, Mark, but of course I turned that down. The long break had started, and I was at the Montfort barony. Jessica, who used to be terrified of me, was now able to converse with me normally. Perhaps she had gotten used to me during the carriage ride. You're sure that the dragon is a fire type? I asked at some point on the journey to her domain. Yes, that's what my father's letter said. It's apparently settled down on the tallest mountain in the area. I see. Is there anything else I should know? The letter also mentioned that it didn't seem like it could be defeated without countermeasures against fire. I think I can get you more details when we get home. It's just like the game. I guess I can look forward to that, too. I thanked Jessica and turned to look out the window just as her home came into view. The Baron of Montfort's barony was in the countryside on a rustic land overflowing with nature. I could understand why it was alarming for a domain of this size to have a dragon appear. I'm home, Jessica loudly announced at the doors to the Baron's mansion. I brought someone who could properly defeat the dragon. One after another, the servants appeared, joyed at her return. Welcome home, my lady. It must have been a long way for you and your friend. Friend, I think you mean vermin exterminator. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm Emilia Darkness. Thank you for coming, Sir Montfort greeted. Unfortunately, a dragon has appeared in this area, so we might not be able to be as hospitable as expected, he said apologetically. Huh. I saw Jessica send a letter explaining things. Father, this Emilia is the person who will defeat the dragon for us. The Baron's face twisted in confusion at Jessica's explanation. Oh, she's the person you were saying was as strong as the Demon Lord. Wait, Jessica, you wrote in the letter that I'm only as strong as the Demon Lord? As I glared at her from the corner of my eye, Jessica panicked to explain. Emilia's level is 99, and I said she was strong enough to defeat the Demon Lord, not that she was as strong. The Baron's expression remained unchanged. This was something I hadn't experienced in a while. The next morning, I immediately started up for the mountain to take down the dragon, with 2 soldiers accompanying me to show me the way. Jessica was considerate and offered to join me, but I politely declined because she didn't seem like she would be an asset for battle. Hey, why don't we go along with Why do we have to go along with what some spoiled aristocrat wants? One of the soldiers muttered to another. I don't know. We have to follow the Baron's orders. The 2 soldiers apparently thought of me as some spoiled girl who just wanted to see a dragon. I ignored their quiet bickering and walked up the mountain trail. We eventually found a clearing halfway up the mountain, and I decided to wait for the dragon there. Let's take a break here. two who followed me sat on the ground out of breath. You guys need some more stamina. Might I suggest level grinding? Miss, the older soldier began between gasps. I forgot to mention this, but if the dragon appears, we're leaving right away. Keep your aristocratic debauchery to a minimum. Do they still not understand what's going on? Do they not find it weird that I'm not even close to out of breath coming all this way? Suddenly, it was here. I glared toward the point in the sky without responding to the soldier. Confused by my action, the soldiers also looked up at the sky, finding a single shadow. What is that? The shadow, is that the dragon? The shadow grew as it got closer, and eventually it was close enough to be easily recognizable as a dragon. Hide! We'll wait it out! It looks like it's already found us, I informed them calmly. The soldier scurried and hid in the shadow of a nearby boulder. Didn't they hear me? Hiding is useless at this point. The dragon was circling the area around us. Perhaps its guard was up because humans had entered its territory. The dragon that appeared was a fire type, just as Jessica had described. Flames curled around the edges of its mouth. As if to warn us that it could breathe fire at any moment. As I stared at the dragon in the sky, I thought about how I would defeat it. If possible, I wanted to retrieve the magic stones after taking it down, but most of my long-range spells would destroy everything, leaving nothing behind. And my targeted spells activated through the target's shadows, meaning I couldn't use them against a flying enemy. I quickly glanced at the soldiers hiding behind the boulder, only to find their faces twisted in despair. It's all over. I'm going to be eaten. Aren't you guys giving up too easily? My company seemed to be mentally unwell, so I decided to take care of things quickly. Black hole. My spell activated, covering the dragon's left wing in darkness. The wing then disappeared along with the darkness. The dragon spun around and dove to the ground. I was about to finish it off, and it looked like it had already died from the impact of hitting the ground. Well, that was much weaker than I thought it would be. You did it! You're amazing, miss! The soldiers had done a 180 and were so moved that they began crying. Was it really that impressive? I said I would take care of the dragon 3 whole times on the way here. I hate to ruin your moment of happiness, but it isn't over yet. Yes, I had defeated the fire-type dragon, but this battle wasn't over yet. The truth was, the dragon had settled down on this mountain was one of the breeding pair. In the game, it was said that the boss's element was fire, so many players only equipped water-type spells and fire-resistant armor. However, after defeating the fire-type dragon, there was another battle with a wind-type dragon. Of course, the second was stronger, so the event was a trap where you actually had to prepare against the wind element. Suddenly, a roar reverberated through the entire mountain. Maybe it's angry that its wife was killed, but wait, maybe this one's the husband. The wind dragon flew to the sky from a nearby forest, making a beeline for us. That's a wind type for you. It's so much stronger than the last dragon. Oh, my alarm. Look out, one soldier called out, seeing that the dragon was barreling towards me. It was no problem for me, though. Shadow Lance. The dragon had stopped right before me, pierced mid-air by a plethora of spears protruding from my shadow before dying. This dragon's demise came from attacking me from the direction my shadow was cast. The soldiers looked as though they had aged several years after 2 rounds of the emotional roller coaster that was preparing to die and making it out alive. I sent them back with 2 large magic stones for the trouble. As for myself, I went to the top of the mountain to attain the item I came here for. Why did a breeding pair of dragons suddenly come to this mountain? To raise a child, of course. I couldn't help but smile at how well things had gone. Within the nest sat the item I came looking for, a dragon egg. The long spring break was over, and today was my first day as a second-year student. Wait, so all of this happened within 1 year. You beat a bunch of people's asses, you got called to the castle, your parents invited you home, not really home, and you beat up a fucking dragon. And you tortured people by, like, we should level grind with your fucking whistle. So, okay, that was year 1. We are in year 2 now. And we are page 115 in this document. But we are a second-year student now. But we are also officially halfway through this book. Considering I arrived on the first day of the new term holding a large egg, I had drawn attention to myself. You drew attention to yourself by having black hair and being, like, the only person with black hair in this whole entire fucking kingdom. Hey, Emilia, it's been a while, Patrick greeted me. So, what's that? It's my child. I gave birth to it. Patrick took me seriously for a moment and grabbed my shoulders. What? Oh, you're joking. He cut off seconds from interrogating me about who the other person was. Which means Patrick, in all of his brain glory, is like, who the fuck? You gave birth to an egg? And I'm just like, is this normal for magic cities or what? I don't know, but I'm amused. Jeez, I didn't think you would panic so much. Do I look like I could give birth to an egg? It's a dragon egg. Some stuff happened over break. You get it. Get what? I don't think some stuff typically leads to obtaining a dragon egg. Are you going to hatch it? That's the plan. I've already discussed it with His Majesty. I had gotten permission from the king to keep the dragon through the headmaster. Dragon tamers were valuable and usually belonged to the state, but I received the kind treatment of getting an exception for that as well. I was even asked if there were any concerns about my school life. For those at the top, at least, this country was the best. Yeah, the king and queen realize you have nothing that you like or care for at this moment. So they're just like, we need to make her, one, like living, like the world, and actually give a fuck about this kingdom, so that she does not become a demon lord herself later. Which is very, very smart. You know, they say a child who doesn't receive warmth in the village will burn it down to feel that warmth. As for my joke earlier, the part about the dragon egg being my child wasn't completely wrong. Dragons incubated their eggs by pouring magic energy into them. The more magical energy that was poured into an egg, the stronger the hatchling would be. So dragon parents would spend their time pouring magic into the egg to the point that meals became a constant necessity. Which is why, in the Mountfort barony, they were uncharacteristically attacking livestock. Upon hatching, the baby dragon would recognize the entity that it received the most magical energy from as its parent, even if that entity was a different species. In other words, if a human were to incubate a dragon egg, the dragon would recognize that human as its parent. It was said that monsters could never fully bond with a human, but dragons were the only monsters that had the possibility of obeying people. That being said, it was extremely difficult to obtain a dragon and that was comfortable with humans. Eggs were already difficult to find, and even if you found one, pouring more magic into the egg than the original dragon parents wasn't something that could easily be done. The fact that the kingdom of Valchian had only tamed 2 dragons was proof of that. In the game, the egg was affected by Alicia's magical energy and does produce a light-type dragon. That dragon grew big enough to fly the party members around.
Yes, I had intruded on the event where you obtained a method of travel. I figured there were no restrictions, like in the game where you could only travel to places you had visited before. So it was extremely enticing to me. I wanted to fly. It was a convenient travel method, and if necessary, it would surely be helpful in proving an easy escape from the kingdom. I don't know how to say this, but there's something ominous about it, to say the least, Patrick said, looking at the egg as he spoke. You know, there are just some days where words like omnibus, just, it doesn't sound right now, and it feels like I'm just saying blah, blah, blah. But you understand. Well, that's kind of mean. It was true that the egg, which had turned jet black after I had poured so much magical energy into it that I was concerned about it exploding, was giving off an intimidating aura. Don't say something so terrible to my child. It's so cute, I replied while hugging the egg. At first I had thought of my future dragon as a convenient taxi, but after carrying it with me all day, every day, I started to care for it. It was going to be born through my dark magic, so it was the same as my own child. I wasn't going to treat it badly because it classified as a monster. This also means, like, because I can't imagine Yumilia having children of any sort as an adult. She just doesn't seem like the kind of person to care about, having a child. She's definitely like, you can be the fun auntie, here, have a pet. Actual physical kid, I don't think that would be good for her. Patrick raised his brows. Cute. Yes, I'm sure this dragon will be adorable once it's born. Oh, right. I need to think of a name. I see. So you're not trying to bring out the world's strongest dragon? Patrick said, sounding a tad weirded out. What in the world is he talking about? It's my child, so of course it's going to be the world's strongest dragon, I stated. Ah, I see. Well, I hope it hatches safely, he responded with a tired look before getting up and leaving. Patrick only made that face when I did something wrong, but he usually took the time to correct me. I wonder if I had said something ridiculous without realizing it. Patrick is just like, you are obsessed with the strongest thing ever. I heard you tell a guy that you were only interested in men stronger than you. I kinda am interested in you, against my better judgment. And dude is just tired. He is a tired man. I do not blame him. Some time passed, and I was now known as the dangerous person with the egg by the new students at the academy. Oh, yeah, because you have new freshmen now, so they're all going to be like, who's this girl? She has black hair. And they're all just like, yeah, that girl with the egg, she's dangerous, so don't fuck with her. So, yeah. It was around this time that I noticed the egg moving from time to time. Considering how much time had passed, I figured it would hatch soon. Maybe even as soon as today or tomorrow. I invited Patrick in hopes of sharing the touching moment with him. Welcome. Now that I think about it, this is the first time I've invited someone to my room. Thanks for having me. Patrick was obviously flustered as he entered my room. Maybe it's that boy thing where he's embarrassed because he's in a girl's room. No way, I can't imagine him thinking of me like that. You barely consider him a friend, but he is like your first and only friend. Well, he's your first friend. Eleanor is your second friend right now. You just haven't gotten to accepting it yet. But she's like, I will adopt you. You're my friend now. Like the good old extrovert she is. We talked about what we did during the break while watching over the egg. It eventually got too late and we were about to give up on it hatching today. But then the egg showed signs of movement. After a moment, cracks began to form, and the egg started swaying. "You can do it," I cheered. The egg began moving aggressively in response, and eventually a jet black claw shot out. "Yay! We did it, Patrick!" I glanced over to find him wearing a solemn look of determination. "I didn't think you would take the birth of my child so seriously." "Patrick must be nervous. Those sharp claws," he started muttering. "I should have said something earlier. I've never even heard of a cute dragon." "You're going to be disappointed." "Oh, what? Huh? What did you say?" I asked, barely paying him any attention. "Oh, wait, look. It's breaking more of the shell. Keep going. You can do it." Once its hand freed itself, everything happened quickly. The dragon hatchling broke through the shell and came crawling out. I was so moved that I was frozen in place. After a beat, Patrick began speaking gently. "I know you were imagining a cute dragon, but I think cool dragon isn't so bad." So Patrick called it cool, but to me it was more cute. What a cute dragon. The hatchling was about as big as a medium-sized dog, with a large mouth and large eyes. Its appearance felt divine. Naturally, its body was jet black, like my own hair and eyes. Children take after their parents, after all. You don't take after your parents whatsoever. I guess if you think it's cute, then it's fine. I do think it's kind of celestial, though. Patrick was saying something, sounding muffled, but I couldn't hold back anymore and hugged my child. The hatchling's face was buried in my bosom and purring like a cat. "Patrick, it's purring like a cat." "It sounds more like it's growling." I continued petting my hatchling while thinking about a name. I had been brainstorming about it this entire time, but I couldn't come up with anything good. "Your name will be, Dragon Ryu," I sobbed out loud. "A name that's just based on those words is probably too simple." "That Ryu name sounds good," said Patrick. "Huh? Ryu is... Oh, right." Patrick had provided a great idea. In this world, the Japanese word for dragon, Ryu, didn't exist. I liked the sound of the name Ryu. I didn't know how to tell dragon sexes apart, but I was under the impression that he was a boy, so it was perfect. "Ryu, your name is Ryu." I wasn't sure if he understood my words, but Ryu happily yelped while breathing fire. I fanned the fire he breathed right into my face with my hand and steeled myself to discipline him. "Ryu, you can't breathe fire inside the room." He yelped once more, this time without breathing fire. What a good boy. The problem was he also shot black lasers from his eyes, which I had to twist my neck to dodge. And that was bad too. Well, Patrick, I should put Ryu to bed, so let's call it a day. Wait, are you planning on keeping the dragon in this room? Patrick asked from the far corner he had moved to, where he was making himself small. When did that happen? Maybe he's not good with animals. He also knows dangerous creature can kill me. It's breathing fire and shooting lasers. Of course. We'll share a bed until he gets bigger. Ryu was probably going to get too big to fit in the room, but that was a bridge I'd cross when we get there. I see. I'm sure you'll be fine, but don't die, okay? Patrick said before leaving the room in a hurry. The next morning, I woke up to Rita screaming. I shot up, wide awake and worried about what had happened, only to find a Ryu that was now much larger than me, fast asleep. They say that kids grow fast, but I didn't think it was to this extent. For now, I was happy that my child was healthy and growing. The next issue I would rack my brain over was how I could get Ryu out of the room. Yeah, because apparently now he's too big to leave. I later found out that hatchlings grew from the magical energy given to them by their parents.
It had become a habit of mine to pour magic energy into the egg as I slept, which led me to carelessly do the same with Rio after he hatched. It was no wonder he grew to be larger than me overnight. Also, go ahead, grab your water, your tea, your coffee, your lemonade, your energy drink, whatever it is you want to drink. While we read today, I've just got water. It's legit. I haven't been up that long, and I haven't been moving. I need to be, though. Stretching. After managing to get him through the window, I decided to look for a living space for Ryu. I had already gotten permission from the king to raise a dragon, so surely it wouldn't be an issue for the academy to prepare somewhere for him to sleep. I have to figure out where you're going to live, I told Ryu. You'd probably prefer somewhere close to my room, right? Ryu barked in agreement as he walked alongside me in the academy courtyards. He understands what I'm saying. Is my child a genius? I watched him as he leisurely strolled along on all fours, while his large wings made short, continuous flaps. He's so cute! Ah! The sound of a girl screaming resonated throughout the academy. What's going on? Ryu, this might be dangerous. Get behind me. They're screaming because there's a dragon on grounds. Nobody's like, why is there a dragon here? Like, nobody wakes up and go, oh, cool, dragon. No, it's not a puppy. Everyone's gonna see dragon and scream instinctively. I cautiously checked my surroundings with Rio hidden behind me. I found the student who screamed in a part of the courtyard not too far away, but no signs of what may have caused her alarm. Having heard the same cry, other students and teachers arrived on the scene, wondering what happened, only for them to scream simultaneously, "Wah! Ah! What is everyone so afraid of? There's some unknown danger nearby, and I need to protect my child. Dragon! There's a dragon!" It appeared that a dragon, one of the strongest monsters of this world, had appeared at the academy. I squinted up to the sky in search of said dragon, but couldn't find anything. Your child is a dragon. Patrick had also made his way to the courtyard and was slowly making his way towards me. This is no time for such leisure, Patrick. Whoa, I didn't know that dragons could get so big in one day. It seems that a dragon has appeared at the academy, but I can't find it, I worriedly explained. What do you mean? It's right behind you, what? But behind me was just Ryu, my lovely, adorable dragon hatchling. Oh. I see, I said, relaxing. Everyone is making a fuss about Ryu. It's normal to make a fuss over a dragon. Anyways, I'm surprised he got so big. Screaming after seeing a cute animal isn't normal. It's just startling. I wish they wouldn't do that, but I guess I understand where they're coming from. Well, I guess he is that cute. It's possible that we'll soon be seeing Ryu rise in popularity. Patrick looked baffled. What? Ryu, I turned to my baby excitedly. Everyone's offering to play with you. They don't want to play with Ryu. Nobody wants to play with Ryu, Yumilia. Nope. Before I knew it, more students had gathered to see Ryu. They must all be animal lovers, and all animal lovers are good people. Ryu took off, running towards the other students, hoping to play with them. He has so much energy. Ah, run! All the students immediately dispersed into the building surrounding the courtyard. Huh? Why is everyone running, I wondered. Stop him, Yumilia, Patrick shouted. Bring Ryu back. Ryu, come here, I called. My glasses are smudgy. I guess some people are afraid of animals. I'm an animal lover, but I can accept and respect their feelings. Ryu came running back, his long tail wagging rapidly. What do you think? I asked Patrick while keeping my eyes on my hatchling. What? Oh, about Ryu. Right. I'm not sure about him being cute, but he seems like a good boy. But it's dangerous to let him play with people, so before Patrick could finish his sentence, his mouth had been obstructed by Ryu's. Actually, it would have been more accurate to say Ryu's mouth was obstructed, given that Patrick's entire head was now inside it. I'm so jealous. I wish that was me. Nobody wants to have their head inside the mouth of a dragon, I can assure you. I also remember my niece putting her, whole entire, mouth on our faces trying to eat us as a baby. It was adorable, but also gross. Not a fun time. Patrick must have been happy that Ryu was being so playful with him because of how much he was yelling and frilling about. He thinks he's dying. Ryu, I think that's enough, I cautioned him. Your drool's going to get all over him. Ryu, my very smart boy, listened and let go of Patrick. And now we have our illustration. He is not a happy man. Look at him. So we've got poor Patrick and this dragon. So in the anime, the dragon was designed to be more cute, if I recall. Because I believe I made it to that episode in the anime. So, just interesting food for thought. But yeah, Ryu in all his wonderful glory. We're gonna go back to automatic zoom. I feel so bad for Patrick. Patrick's just like IFC, deaf. Are you okay? I asked Patrick. Are you the kind of person who cares about getting drooled on? I'll just be glad that I'm alive, Patrick said shakingly. He got up and stumbled away before eventually sitting down on the ground. I decided it was time to play with Ryu myself. I wasn't sure what dragons did for fun, but moving our bodies around would probably be a good time. However, before we could play, someone else appeared in the courtyard, getting in the way of our family time. She's annoying even now that we're second-year students. Oh, Eumelia, are you also out for a morning stroll? Oh, Eleonora was walking toward me, but stopped in her tracks after noticing Ryu. After silently staring up at Ryu for a few seconds, she suddenly gasped loudly. Oh, I pressed the wrong key. Don't yell, please. What if you scare him? Who is this cutie? She squealed. See, Eleonora thinks your dragon's cute, and says it happily aloud. Oh, I didn't take it, Eleonora, for an animal lover. I thought prima donnas like her usually hated animals. This is Ryu, and yes, he's cute, isn't he? May I touch you? She asked Ryu after getting permission. Eleonora gently patted his jet black chin and neck. Ryu let out a rumbling purr and seemed to be enjoying it. He's truly adorable. Why don't you all come closer? Eleanor said, calling over to her entourage. The girls, who had been watching from a distance, aggressively shook their heads in refusal. Many people seem to be afraid of dragons. I think there's only 3 people who are okay with him. Isn't it just 2 people, Patrick? One of the 3 people corrected. I see. As his parent, I don't count. Ryu, no, he's telling you he isn't okay with Ryu, but yeah, I guess. Be in denial, dear. Ryu appeared to have taken an interest in the brooch Eleonora had on, getting close to it and sniffing around. You like sparkly things, Ryu. You're quite the fashion connoisseur. Are you interested in this? Eleonora asked. I see we share a fondness for gemstones. Along with the brooch on her chest, Eleonora was also wearing a necklace with a large gemstone on it. Frankly, I didn't understand the appeal. Here, Ryu, go and get it. Eleanor took off her brooch and threw it with all her might. The brooch painted a beautiful curve as it flew for the sky, huh? Is it okay to just throw it like that? Isn't it expensive? Rich girl problems. Ryu followed Eleanor's instructions and made a beeline for the gemstone around her neck, jumping onto Eleanor's head like he did with Patrick. I'm so jealous. You went for the gemstone on the necklace. You're so smart, Ryu, I cheered. The girls in Eleanor's entourage all screamed at the sight. If you're so worried about your boss, you should come save her. All right, Ryu, that's enough. Eleanor gasped for air. I thought I was gonna die. Die? That's an overreaction. Despite her words, Eleanor looked somewhat proud. The world is a vast place, but I must be the only daughter of an aristocrat to have been nibbled on by a dragon, she said while hugging Ryu after escaping his bite. Yes, after all, most people die after being bitten. If Ryu had seriously tried to bite Patrick and Eleanor, they would have lost their lives. On the other hand, a dragon that playfully bites, well, what was better than that? Surely Sir Edwin will notice me now. I'm not so sure about that. It was eventually decided that Ryu would stay in a warehouse on the outskirts of the academy. It's a bit of a distance from the dorms, but I'll be sure to visit it frequently. And with that, we are at our next set of ellipses. I really appreciate that Eleanor is just like, ooh, cool dragon. Just instantly, like, I like the dragon. The dragon's cute. And it forms and deepens her friendship with Yumilia. So that's great. So, what is happening right now? In case you don't know, and you're not keeping up, there was a chemical plant called Biolab in Conyers, Georgia, that decided it wanted to catch fire on the roof. So here's what I know as of this moment, as a resident. I'm not even a resident of Rockdale County anymore. I live on the edge of Rockdale County. I technically live in the city of Conyers, but I am not in Rockdale County, you know? I'm on the edge, but I'm in the city of Conyers. So, Biolab caught fire at 5:30 a.m. on September 29th. We do not know what caused the fire at the moment of this time. According to the press conference they gave us at like 6 o'clock last night. What we do know, 5:30 a.m., fire on the roof started at the biolab off of Old Covington Highway. We have 3 different biolabs in Conyers. 2 of them are within 5-10 minutes of each other. Both are about 5-15 minutes from me. Fire caught on 5:30 a.m., September 29th, Sunday. Sprinklers went off inside of the building. I'm presuming underneath the fire. I do not know. They referred to it as a faulty sprinkler when I saw the first press conference. I don't know if they called it a faulty sprinkler in that 6 o'clock press conference, but the 9 o'clock one that I saw, they referred to it as a faulty sprinkler. But it went off in the building, mixed with the chemicals, and caused a plume. And that was banned. They got the fire on the roof contained, began moving product out of the building because, bad chemical plume, whatnot. At noon, around noon, September 29th, Sunday, 2024, the fire that was on the roof, it started back up again. So they had to put that out, and they got that out at around 3:30 to 4 o'clock. Now, this chemical that's underneath them, it's reacting to the water and making the plume bigger. It's causing a bigger problem. So, it's a twofold situation of everything's kind of screwed. So, yeah. So, 4 o'clock, so between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, they get the fire put out on September 29th, 2024, Sunday. And this, for those of you who don't use the American but use military time, that would be between 1,500 hours and 30 minutes to 1,600 hours. And so they're still removing the product. They're calling it the product from the biolab and clearing all that up. So that's the thing. From according to the press conference that they released at 6, the roof collapsed. Some walls collapsed as well. It is not looking good. I worked at this biolab for a little under a month. I worked at 2 different locations. They work in pool chemicals. I worked at 2 different of the biolab buildings. One I was doing inventory at. They were really nice. Didn't quite provide the proper PPE. The other one, it's been known for having fights and stuff break out between employees, management, all that. Not good. The first one, which is this one that caught fire on Old Covington Highway I worked at, it caught fire. They provided no PPE, gloves, masks, none of that. And I worked there, I feel like in early 2022, because I left a paint factory and I was there after the paint factory. And this is when I found out I was allergic to chlorine because I was having trouble eating, couldn't swallow any food, and it just kept getting worse and worse. My body was getting horribly unwell. And then we realized, oh, I'm having a allergic reaction. Like, they had to send me home because I was so out of it and I wasn't feeling well one day. And there were concerns about having me drive home because I was so unwell from this biolab. So, yeah. They don't do the very best. But when I went to the temp agency, because they only hire through a temp agency, it seems. And each building has a different temp agency working with it. The first temp agency, like the one on Old Covington Highway, I went in and legit, there were 5 other people who came in with complaints about the biolab. And it is safety concerns, health concerns. One guy, he has like his whole entire hands bandaged up because his hands are so damaged from the chemicals in that plant. And he's like, they're not providing me PPE. I keep telling him. And he's been going up to every single person in his chain and nobody's listening to him or helping him. So, yeah. That's a problem. And then there was like a couple other people as well. So I'm amazed no one's talked about it. I didn't sign no NDA. I don't give a fuck talking about it because I'm just like, this is my experience. This is what I heard. This is what I saw. And this is what I felt. Biolab on Old Covington Highway should have had an OSHA in it yesterday. Like, it should have had it in there years ago. And apparently this one, there was a similar incident in 2020, 2004, and according to someone responding to one of my TikToks saying there was also an incident in 2019. So, it's had incidents, according to the lady who's in the fire department. Out of the 7 years she's worked in this area, she has only had to deal with 3 incidences of this magnitude. There's been smaller incidents, but only 3 of this magnitude. So, 3 out of 7 years, that's a little under 50%. Just saying. Granted, you can't control when, like, incidences are going to happen as the fire department, but I want to know what caused the fire. They're not telling us what chemical or product the water interacted with that created the plume that was causing the issue. Biolab specifically makes pool products. I'm going to throw that out there. I found out I was allergic to chlorine. They make pool and spa products. So it's not just chlorine in that plant. But when I worked there and we found out I was allergic to chlorine, and I told them, hey, I'm allergic to chlorine. Can you put me in another spot that isn't chlorine, has no chlorine, any of that? And they told me no, because all they work with is chlorine. So, just gonna throw that out here. Not the best. And now that we have explained why I'm awake at 4 o'clock in the morning, recording things, I'm also cramping. Thank you for being here for 10 minutes of me ranting. We're going to read some more of this book. So thank you. I will put I'll try to remember to make chapters for this one for y'all, okay? Just gotta remember that it's 9:10. I'll write it down. Because that was a rant. Now we're gonna actually start our next part of Villainess level 99. We left off at these 3 little dots on this page. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages to our next section, and this chapter is still long. This book has really, really long chapters, y'all. But I'm going to finish this chapter, and then I'm probably going to take a hiatus and read something else. Because story's good, but man, are the chapters long. I was now a second year at the academy. Something I had completely forgotten about, amid Ryu's hatching. In other words, there were students here now who were a year younger than us. Those students knew nothing of the various things I had done at the academy. In other words, those relationships would be formed with a clean slate. I hope I can utilize my past mistakes to build good relationships with my juniors. It's fine if they're a little cocky. I'll accept them as they are. I can do that as their elder. Even if they say something about my black hair, I'll let it slide. With virtuousness in mind, I was prepared to welcome the incoming students. But something had seemed off with them. Upon seeing me in the halls, they would step to the side and freeze up. If they saw me in the courtyard, they would run into the building. Did I do something to the new students? I asked Patrick one day after classes. He was officially my go-to when I was struggling with something. Yeah, he's your, friend who's just like, hey, what you up to? I don't think you did anything to them directly, but he trailed off. I did something to them indirectly? Yumilia, you're pretty famous. Most of the aristocrats in this kingdom know who you are. Even if they didn't, there was still that incident with Ryu. Things were better now, but everyone in the academy had overreacted to Ryu. I could understand being afraid of a dragon, but Ryu was just a hatchling, so there was no need to be so afraid of him. I was also unhappy with the fact that Eleonora was the only one who agreed with me. My classes are done for the day. Maybe I should go see Ryu. I should invite Patrick as well. Are you free after this? Sorry, I have something. Patrick seemed to be busy ever since the end of the year party. He seemed to be traveling outside of the academy, but he wouldn't tell me where he was going. I was worried because he would sometimes return with injuries. Yeah, Patrick heard you tell that boy, you only like guys that are stronger than you. And he's like, well, guess I gotta become stronger. So he's off I want to be able to match up, I guess. But you ain't picked it up, and that's okay. Density is cute. What's going on with you lately? If you're mixed up in some trouble, I'd like to help you a little longer, just wait a little longer, he said with a serious look. When the time comes, there's something I want to tell you. What does he want to tell me? Patrick began to act differently around the time we became second-year students. But the only thing that happened around then were the end-of-the-year party and Ryu's birth. Oh, I got it. It must have something to do with Ryu. I might be wrong, but I think about what you want to tell me and what I'm thinking are the same thing. Wait, no. I want to be the one to say it, Patrick sputtered as his face turned red. I could completely understand how he felt. After all, I was also slightly afraid. It could end up being fun, or it could end up being painful. But I think we should take this leap rather than stand still. Oh, okay, you're right, Patrick agreed, looking determined. Let's say it at the same time, then. Patrick, we had the same feelings. It's okay. I want to fly on Ryu, I said, actualizing my desires at the sky I yearned for. Wait, did Patrick just say something different? His words had been drowned out by my own, and I missed what he said. Patrick spoke first. Again. Fly, like, through the sky? Riding on Ryu's back? Yes! I'm a little afraid, but that doesn't mean you're allowed to try it on your own before me, though. That wouldn't be fair. Ryu had been growing quickly, and was now about the size of a house. On top of that, he was able to fly without anyone having taught him. Seeing Ryu like that can only lead to a single thought. I want to ride on my dragon's back and fly through the sky. It was what anyone would dream of. Patrick must have been going to visit Ryu on his own and had gotten injured playing with him a few times. I don't particularly want to fly. I was lost. What? Then what did you say just now? Patrick averted his eyes. I'm surprised that you're scared to fly, he said, blatantly changing the subject. I thought you weren't afraid of anything. He's just like, change subjects, mayday, mayday, mayday. I guess it's pretty embarrassing that I thought we were thinking the same thing, but I was the one who made that mistake, so it should be more embarrassing for me. I decided to go along with the current topic, putting aside what Patrick really wanted to say. I'm a bit scared of falling from the sky, I admitted. I think that's scary for anyone, unless you're some veteran wind mage. It's hard to control your body in midair. Right? I can't help but think about what would happen if I fell through where someone was standing. Even if I'm alright, it would be dangerous for the person I landed on. I would also likely be fine if I fell from high up, but that wasn't the case for the people I'd be falling on. The thought of something bad happening to them scared me so much that it kept me from flying. Oh, so you weren't scared for yourself. I think that's adorably precious of her. To be, like, worried about other people. I think it's absolutely precious. It's okay, though. I think I'm going to try it out right now. There was no time like the present. I decided to head to Rio immediately. Patrick said he had plans, but he tagged along. Perhaps he was interested in flying, after all. We walked side by side and arrived at the Academy warehouse. That was now his home. Ryu, I called out. Ryu poked his head out from the doors of the warehouse, which had been widened after some rushed construction. Upon seeing my face, he happily waddled toward me and rubbed his head against my side. Oh, he's just too cute. I was thinking you can give us a ride today, I said to Ryu. Just let me know if it's hard to fly. Ryu yipped in response as if telling me to leave it to him, and he then flapped his large wings, showing me that he was willing and excited. Shouldn't you hold off if you're worried? Patrick chimed in, spoiling our fun. He looked up at Ryu. Couldn't you use a saddle or something to secure yourself to him? It's okay. I feel like I can do it now. Based on my experiences, you're the most dangerous when you're confident. There's no doubt about it. Wow, I didn't realize I was so untrustworthy to him. It's not that you're untrustworthy, Emilia. Patrick has seen you be confident and then go about doing crazy, reckless, silly things. And he's just like, he's concerned for you. He's concerned for the other students. He's concerned for a lot of good reason. Just because you'll be fine doesn't mean everyone else will be. If I waited and got a saddle like Patrick suggested, who knew when my first flight would be? A saddle for a dragon would probably require a custom order that would take quite a while to be finished. I went ahead and jumped onto Ryu's back. Let's go, Ryu. We're going beyond the sky today. How about you just go into the sky today? Beyond the sky is space. A few minutes later, I was free-falling through the air. The cause was my own overexcitement. I looked up at Ryu as I fell, who was now quite far above me in hopes of getting his help. He gave me a confused look as if to ask what game we were playing now. It looks like he won't be of much use. I wasn't sure if it was due to his instincts or because of how I usually played with him, but Ryu seemed to perceive me as an individual who was much stronger than him. Maybe I can at least change the trajectory of my fall, I muttered to myself. If I continued on my current path, I would crash into the commercial area of the royal capital. I tried to think of somewhere that was an open space with no people and decided on the academy grounds. There were many buildings near campus, but the area where Ryu lived was relatively empty. Yeah, because the students don't want to run into a dragon. Maybe if I just shoot out some magic energy, I mumbled, mind working. This might have been easier if I could use wind magic, but unfortunately, I only had dark magic at my disposal. I decided to release a concentrated burst of pure magic energy to the side in an attempt to change the trajectory of my fall. It was extremely inefficient, but my spur-of-the-moment plan went surprisingly well. I was now falling straight toward the academy. The speed of my fall began to increase, but it seemed like I would reach the academy with no issues. To be certain, I continued to make small adjustments by firing horizontal bursts of magical energy. Oh, wait. Couldn't I just point the burst downward? I had only been thinking about landing somewhere away from other people, so I'd completely forgotten that I could just decrease my speed using my magic energy at the same way. But as the thought occurred to me, it was too late. I crashed into the ground with a thunderous sound. A cloud of dirt billowed around me. I was able to change my direction of my body at the last minute and landed on my feet, which kept my uniform safe, fortunately. Girl does not want to have to buy a new uniform, and I am okay with that logic. Still gonna need to be clean. There's so much dirt in the air, I coughed. My shoes are ruined, too. Well, that was quite the experience. I sat on the ground without giving it much thought. Emilia, are you all right? Patrick called, running over to me. He had most likely witnessed my fall. I'm okay. The only victims were my shoes, I joked, pointing at my shoes. Hold on, I'll carry you in a second. What? Wait, I can walk. It's fine. There was no need to be so worried. So quickly that there was no moment to stop, and Patrick scooped me up and held me up, bridal style. I flailed my limbs around, but it didn't seem like I would escape. I mean, I could probably escape if I thrashed with all my might, but I didn't want to hurt Patrick, so I held back on all my movements. This moment brought my weakness to light. Even though I had the brawn, I was light in weight. Where does it hurt? I'll take you to the infirmary right away. No, wait. If we use Emilia as a recovery magic, you could just... Where's Emilia? Are you really that flustered? You're holding me. It took quite a while to calm Patrick down after all that. Apparently the story of how Patrick ran around the academy, carrying me bridal style, immediately spread through the student body. Hey, why did you get so panicked? I asked when he had calmed down. Sorry, I just thought you got hurt. And I couldn't help myself. There's no way I would be hurt after something like that. You worry too much. You need to take care of yourself more. Everyone else might not think it, but you're human too. Huh? People don't think I'm human? It felt like he said something vaguely terrible to me. but I let it go since Patrick was the only one who worried about me like this. I need to be grateful to him. Yes, we should indeed be grateful to Patrick.
Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the Story Nook. Today we are going to be continuing reading Villainess level 99, all while I make breakfast. So I brought my laptop into my kitchen, so that's why the sound might be funny. My second summer break was already here. Oh, go ahead, grab your water, your tea, your coffee, whatever it is you're gonna grab. Because I'm just driving straight in, because we are still in what I believe is chapter 4. So yeah, we left off at these 3 ellipses. My second summer break was already here, and I was visiting Craftsman's Row in the royal capital to pick up my custom-made saddle for Ryu. I didn't think it was necessary, but after being pushed by Patrick to do so, I decided to have one made. Because Patrick cares about your safety. Patrick, good friend. Being a custom order, it took quite a while for the saddle to be completed. In the meantime, I had been practicing my magical energy burst, and had now gotten to the point where I could gently land even if I was flung into the air, which made the saddle even more unnecessary. As I wandered through the street lined with food stalls on my way to the Craftsman's Row, a man came up to me and began walking alongside of me. Is he hitting on me? Don't respond and just listen, he spoke quietly, staring straight ahead. I'm an agent from the kingdom of Malista. I have something to discuss with you. If you intend to listen to what I have to say, keep going straight and enter the restaurant on the right. It's the 2-story building with the red roof, he said, before abruptly walking away from me. Yeah, I obviously knew he wasn't hitting on me. Regardless, what do I do? Limalista was a neighboring kingdom and close to Patrick's home, the Margrave of Ashbotton's Mark. I expected that an agent from a potential enemy kingdom would make contact with me at some point. But it felt like they were too late. Perhaps there were some mitigating circumstances, or maybe this was more than just a simple extraction. My curiosity beat my sense of danger, and I decided to enter the designated restaurant. It looked quite expensive for an establishment in the commoners' quarters. Perhaps aristocrats secretly visited here as well. Upon entering, a server guided me to the second-floor room in the very back. I found myself getting excited at the clandestine nature of it all. Inside the room, there was an ordinary-looking man with no standout features seated at a table. He gestured for me to sit down. You must be Humilia. Thank you for coming here today. I'm from the kingdom of the kingdom's now being called Lamb. I'm struggling with this pronunciation, and it's been forever since I watched anime, and I don't even know if I made it to this scene. So, Kingdom of Lamb, please call me Linus. Here's the menu. Order whatever you would like, he insisted. It seemed like it would be on him, so I decided to order as much as I wanted. I didn't have any financial troubles, thanks to the magic stones I had collected and sold for monsters, but now that I had a big child to care for, there was no harm in being a little frugal. I'll have the stewed pork bung. A stewed dish like this was probably prepared ahead of time, so it would be ready right away. It was the perfect meal to order, given the situation, but I also just wanted to eat something with bold flavors for once. Oh, okay, I'll put in the order, he said, with a troubled look before exiting the room to place the order with the server. Did he think I was implying that I would eat his intestines or something? Don't people usually order a cake or something? I heard him mutter from the other side of the door. I see. That's completely my fault. Sorry about that. Linus came back shortly with the stew. Thank you for the stew, I said happily. Oh, I'll be listening while I eat, so you can go ahead and start talking. A secret meeting with an agent from a neighboring kingdom while eating stewed pork bun. Anyway, I look at this. The whole situation sounded like a joke. The atmosphere was now vapid. But Linus began to speak. Let's see, where should I begin? I'm a secret agent, currently residing in the royal capital of the Kingdom of Valshian, where there are a few of us here. Oh, I gotta flip bacon. Give me a moment. Yes. Flipping bacon, flipping bacon. This takes a moment. Setting my timer. Alright, I'm back from flipping bacon. There are a few of us here, including the man who spoke to you earlier. We've known about you since you entered the academy. And we've been collecting information about you and researching you. Researching me? Come on, I'm not some new species. As a result, he continued, we came to the conclusion that it would be extremely difficult to welcome you into our kingdom. You don't seem to have any interest in titles or wealth, and even if you were to leave this kingdom for some reason, there's no reason you would go to the nearby kingdom of Lamb. So that's why they hadn't contacted me. I wondered why they decided to take action now. However, the higher-ups back in our kingdom weren't satisfied with that. It seems that certain aristocrats are meddling as well, so after the dragon, I couldn't hold them off any longer. The guys back home were always just giving out orders from the comfort of their own homes. The later half devolved into Linus venting about his job. I also vent about my job. No joke. Like, y'all, last episode I was telling y'all about how the chemical plant exploded. We're still under a shelter-in-place order, but because, people have to go to work, they're just like, from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., you have the shelter in place. But they still haven't cleaned up the chemical plant, and every time, they move rubble up there, because the chemical product that was causing the chlorine clouds, it's still, creating more of it, and more of it's going into the sky. And that company, the biolab, is being sued by so many people right now. So, yeah. It's all kind of crazy, so I get it. I vent too. I've had higher-ups and managers doing the same bullshit. Just do this, do that, make this happen, even if you can't. I lost 2 days of work. And so now I just have a short check. Because the chemical plant exploded. The later half devolved into Linus venting about his job. I was at a loss for what to say and decided to throw some words of appreciation his way. Thank you for your hard work. I have to ask, do you have any interest in coming to the Kingdom of Lamb? We'll give you anything in our power. What will I be forced to do in exchange? I believe you'll be in the military. If I'm in the army, this kingdom will be my enemy. On top of that, Patrick's home would be the battleground. I politely decline. Of course you do. It seems Linus expected my response because he didn't appear to be disappointed in the slightest. He was an agent of a neighboring kingdom, so I had mentally prepared for something wild, but things weren't going as I had hoped. If anything, this was failing to meet any of my expectations. Linus is just a messenger, okay? He's been over here gathering intel on you and going, we got nothing she wants. She doesn't give a fuck about money. She doesn't care about titles. We have nothing that we can give her that she wants. There's nothing. She's not interested. But because his boss is like, well, ask her anyway. He's just like, fine, I'll ask. She's still gonna say no. I did start to feel bad for Linus, so in a sense, he might have succeeded at his job. There's one more thing I'd like to ask, Linus stated. The main purpose of our conversation was over, but it seemed he wasn't done. It's for my own curiosity, he added. What is it? What is your reason for staying in this kingdom? We assumed you would run off to somewhere far away within 6 months, especially since the discrimination toward black hair is particularly horrible in this kingdom. He was somewhat right. Immediately after entering the academy, I had plans of hiding who I was, and then going to live in a kingdom far away. So what had led me to the current situation? It was truly baffling. No, I know the truth. Things probably changed after outdoor training at the academy when I met him. I'm here because I need to defeat the Demon Lord. It's a global crisis after all. That's a lie. If they know that I care about him, they might take him hostage. What? The Demon Lord should only attack this kingdom, though. The Demon Lord's target is just the kingdom of Valshian. I've never heard anything about that. The king and headmaster seem to know something about the Demon Lord, but do they know about this too? I guess there's the possibility that Linus is mistaken. What does that mean? I started to ask Linus, but it appeared I was too late. Looks like we're out of time, I told him. I could hear the sound of armor clanging outside the restaurant. They were probably Valshian soldiers. I expected they would come, but it seemed this kingdom had also assigned an agent to me. Yes. Give me a moment. I've got some milk bacon. 1, 2, 3. Microwave. Zero. Alright. Back from putting new bacon in the pan. Out of time. There will be people entering this establishment. They blocked the back door as well. I think you can escape if you go out the window and over the roofs. It wasn't long before Linus moved. He immediately did as I said and jumped out the window. He turned back for long enough to say, "Thank you very much. I'll be sure to return this favor one day," and then he was gone. I mean, yeah, you did listen to this poor man vent about his job. I wanted to ask him more about the Demon Lord, but I also didn't want to see him again. However, this interaction was fruitful. Thanks to Linus's question, I was able to realize my feelings for him. You really do have feelings. Oh, emotional growth. Yay. Even if he was just talking to me out of pity, even if he was just dealing with the problem child out of a sense of duty, he spoke to me. We had trivial conversations and laughed together. He put himself in danger when a monster attacked me, and he generally worried about me when I fell off Rio. He treated me like a normal girl. That's who Patrick was, and I probably liked him. Aww, that's great. How many more pages do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 more pages. Let's see if we can make it before I finish cooking the bacon. At an elementary school in the countryside, there was a girl who was the only student in her grade. The student closest to her in age was a boy 2 years older than her. He would happily listen to what she had to say and even help her study. That girl's first love would no doubt be that boy. I think my situation is similar to that girl's. What? Similar to who? I think she's just mistaken familiarity for love because she hasn't interacted with very many people. After letting Linus, the secret agent from the neighboring country, escape, I left the restaurant using the same route. Upon returning to the academy, calmly analyzing my thoughts, I came to the conclusion that my belief that I liked Patrick was a misunderstanding on my part. I was currently discussing those thoughts with Patrick, but I left out the preamble because it was embarrassing. Naturally, he had no idea what I was talking about and had questions. I'll ask again. What are you talking about? I finally mustered up the courage as a way to say what was on my mind. About how I want to be friends with you. You didn't even think of me as a friend until now? He asked, sounding dejected. What? I thought of you as a friend? What a statement of inner beauty. Actually, he was good looking inside and out. No one is good on the inside and on the outside. There must be something wrong. I won't be tricked. Just so you know, I won't invade La Mista Lamb. I tried to assure her, if needed, I can offer some protection to your mark. Patrick's home was along the kingdom's border. My utility value must have been priceless to the Margrave of Ashbutton. Your trust issues run pretty deep, huh? I guess it's the fault of those around you. It's kind of embarrassing to have to spell it out like this, but I won't ever try to use you for your powers. I know you would run away if I tried to pull something like that. And I don't even want to do something like that in the first place, he declared. He stared straight into my eyes for a moment before his face turned red and he turned away. Even if you somehow dropped down to level 1, I'd stayed with you. That's okay. If that happens, I'll just grind back up from level 1. That's not what I... Never mind, he sighed. I only said the thing about grinding to back up again to hide my embarrassment, but I felt like he already knew that, which was also embarrassing. In an effort to change the subject, I pointed out to the bulletin board posted in the hallway. Hey, look, it's the results of the midterm exams. You're at the top again, Patrick. So are you, after all. You at least know how to study. My eyes flashed. Was he implying that studying was the only thing I could do? No, he's implying that despite you being a level-grinding nutcase, you know how to study for your exams. You're not just bronze, you're also brains. You're just book smart. You're not people smart. And that's okay, Emilia. We love you. We adore you. It's time to put bacon. I'm also gonna have that. Stop curling. All I have is a fork. But so far, I am appreciating Emilia and Patrick's dynamic. Patrick's is just like, he's ahead of her in the emotional development department. But Emilia, she's very stunted because, like, she hasn't had that. However, she should kind of have some of it, which makes me wonder what was her past life. Like, she remembers her past life. She has all this knowledge of the past life. But personality-wise, it's not... I'm wondering if she was also, like, kind of neglected in her past life, too. There were 2 exams a year at the Royal Academy. One right before summer break and one at the end of the school year. The questions they asked usually covered topics about the kingdom's histories and law. So it was extremely easy. I was able to pass both of the first year exams with ease. And I was able to score almost full marks on this midterm exam. Patrick and I looked at the names of the top performers while continuing our conversation. Maybe they're being considerate by not posting everyone's results, I wondered. There would probably be a lot of issues if people thought that an heir to a powerful family was stupid. The top scorers were me, Patrick, Prince Edwin, and Oswald. It was basically the same lineup as the previous year. If I recall, Oswald's the little wizard who's just like, I'm so great. No, you're not. And Prince Edwin's kind of a dumbass. I guess there's no bonus for getting good grades on the exams. It doesn't affect the career exams to become a high-ranking official after graduating either. Students with lower-ranking families also cut corners so they can go unnoticed. I was intrigued. What? I didn't know about that. Maybe I should make mistakes on purpose, too. I don't want to attract any negative attention. Aren't there other things you should be considering if you don't want negative attention? Patrick asked incredulously. Also, I think it's more convenient for you if people think you're sharp. Just as Patrick said, there were too many inconveniences if people thought I was simple-minded. There were many who would try to deceive me and pull me into their camps. Hold on, does that mean people think I'm smart? Well, exam scores aren't everything, Patrick replied immediately. You're smart in a sense. You're smart in a sense, Humilia, my dear sweet child. You are smart in a sense. You and me are book smart. Street smart and emotional understanding smart, we're fucked. We're just over here going, I can't figure this out. This is numbers and letters all in the same math equation, and it shouldn't be. And it's too many letters in this math equation. Why is there an X, an A, and a B? There should only be one X. One question mark. Anything else is too fucking annoying. Isn't that something someone with bad grades would say? I glared at Patrick out of the corner of my eye, which he pretended to ignore and proceeded to change the subject. Did you know that if your grades are bad enough, you have to take a makeup exam? Apparently, they inform the students who need to take it secretly. Isn't that just a rumor? Rumors couldn't be trusted, especially when there were rumors going around saying I was planning to run the kingdom behind the scenes and train my dragon to rebel against the kingdom. Rio's not going to rebel against the kingdom. Rio's going to do whatever Humilia tells him because he is a good little boy. Even if they really did make up exams, I couldn't imagine a student who would be stumped by those questions. It must have been a rumor after all. That is true, Patrick said, acknowledging that the information was unconfirmed. Even if it was confirmed, it's not anything you would ever have to deal with. Oh, we're changing scenes. This story changes scenes so often. It has such long chapters. I completely forgot about the dubious existence of the makeup exam, and the following day I was summoned by Eleonora. Usually she would tell me what she was inviting me over for, whether it was for tea or to talk about accessories, but it was never anything serious. Eleonora is not a serious lady. She is a very sweet little girl who is very airheady and trusting. However, this time was different. All she told me was that she needed to discuss something of extreme importance. I usually came up with some excuse to turn her down, but this was too out of the ordinary, even for her. After school, I arrived at the parlor that Eleanor frequented and nervously opened the door. Eleanor and a few members of her entourage awaited me. Humilia, you're finally here! Eleanor exclaimed, jumping up from her seat. She took my hand and led me to my seat. Hello, I replied cordially. So what did you want to discuss? Her family led the radicals of the kingdom, an important fact that I would come close to forgetting quite often. Thus, I couldn't even begin to imagine what came out of her mouth. After swiveling her head around to check her surroundings, Eleanor leaned close to me. Oh, I knew it. It's something awful that can't be openly talked about. Bacon. Bacon, bacon, bacon. I love Eleanor, and I don't know if I watched, the whole, 12-episode anime or not, but I really enjoyed seeing her in the opening. And if they do make a second season, I would love to see more of her. Because I found her adorably precious. Bacon, bacon, bacon. But while I'm getting bacon, why don't you guys, in the comment section, take this moment, tell me who your favorite character in the series is so far. Who are you liking? Who are you disliking? Do you have any ships that you enjoy, that you're hoping might set sail? How are you hoping the story will progress? Around. All that good stuff. Yeah. No. Here we go. Also, thank you very much to my Patreon and Coke supporters. Diamond, Cassy, Micah, RandomSevens, all the people who have been buying my stuff. I think a Brad or somebody, or a Bob, bought some of my things on OF, so thank you. That's really helpful. 'Cause I am broke. My brother-in-law finally got a job. This dude has not had a stable job since 2020. He's only been doing like DoorDash or Grubhub or some shit. And he finally got a job. But fucker doesn't have a car because bullshit happened. But yeah, okay. Back to Emilia. Ugh, I knew it. It's something awful that can't be openly talked about. I'm going to be dragged into a war that'll divide the country, won't I? Could you help me study? Eleanor whispered into my ear. What? Study? I asked without thinking. Is that a code for something? I misspoke. You may help me study. What exactly do you mean? All she did was make her statement go from semi-polite to condescending. Eleanor seemed frustrated that I still didn't understand what she wanted. I'm saying that I want you to help me study so I can pass the makeup exam, she blurted. What was the point of being quiet earlier? The makeup exam? You want me to help you study? Precisely. Aren't you at the top of the class? It appeared the makeup exam existed after all. On top of that, a student who needed to take said makeup exam also existed. There's always someone who needs to take up the makeup exam, okay? Couldn't she have just have her entourage help her? They're always together anyway. I really don't feel like tutoring. How about having them help you? I asked, gesturing to her entourage. It's impossible because I have the best score out of all of us. You've got to be kidding me. I looked over at her entourage only for them to awkwardly avert their gazes. Lady Eleanor, did you look at all of their answer sheets? No, I just asked them what their scores were, Eleanor said, tilting her head in confusion. The girls turned pale at her response. Ah, I see what's going on here. Her entourage, probably self-reported lower scores than her, out of consideration for Eleanor. I could see why students would cut corners, like Patrick said yesterday. If it got out that any of these girls were top performers, it would surely be a disaster. I guess I'll do it, I sighed. I just have to look over your studying, right? That's right. You know, there aren't many people who can help me study. With how intense I anticipated this discussion was going to be, I felt like something small like this would probably be fine to help with. A short while later, I was keeping my promise and helping Eleanor out. It says that 3 generations ago, our ruler was King Cyrus, I read out to Eleanor. Wait, then who was Douglas? He was the king before Cyrus. The prima donna was catastrophically bad at studying. Most people could pass an exam if they could memorize key points, but even memorization seemed to be difficult for her. My ability to speak formally began to crumble as well. Even her entourage left in fear of her exploding at my insolence, leaving me alone with Eleanor. If you're going to claim you're in her faction, shouldn't you at least be able to handle this much? You seem to have a good grasp on recent history, Lady Eleanor. Strangely, I wasn't even being sarcastic. Of course I do. It's about Sir Edwin's father and grandfather. It appeared she had no doubt recalling information on the topics that she liked. Now that I think about it, she always talked about tea and perfume in such detail. Such long details. Could you possibly remember things if they were related to His Highness? I could feel my brain working. Of course I know everything about Sir Edwin. I think everything might be an exaggeration. It's honestly a little gross. How much she likes the prince. Maybe we should just relate everything to His Highness and remember it that way. King Cyrus was the grandfather of Prince Edwin's grandfather. Oh, he was? That makes him Sir Edwin's great-great-grandfather, right? Why are you surprised? That's how royal families work. There was a lot wrong with Eleanor's perception of things. After coming up with this new method, Eleanor made great progress with her studying. Whether it was history or law, if I forced my explanations to relate to Prince Edwin, Eleanor was able to memorize everything in no time. Who successfully completed the large-scale irrigation of Matlock? It was Sir Edwin's great-grandfather's younger brother, so it was Prince Cliff. That's correct! That was actually the one problem even I couldn't answer on the last exam. Oh. do bacon. I love Eleanor, but that is a good way to, like, try to, like, study things. It's find them, what relation they have with something you like. And then switch right to that. So, like, a way I would practice, so, like, I took German. And I also had Chinese for 3 different years in high school. So when I wanted to practice German, I would watch shows in German. I know no one in Ackworth, Georgia. So finding a way to relate something to something you already like is a good way to study and memorize it, because you have something you can call back to. Her passion for what she liked was incredible. Eleanor ended up passing her makeup exam with flying colors and was getting full marks on the history portion. It's all thanks to you, Emilia. Thank you very much, she said with a smile. I had to admit, it didn't feel too bad to be thanked with a genuine smile like that. Let's study together for the next exam as well, Eleanor beamed. I have to help her study again. Is this going to continue until we graduate? My short moment of feeling good dissipated, and I was instantly downcast. I feel like I'm the only one taking losses here. And our next one is our interlude with Patrick. Okay. We will read that next time. I'm still cooking bacon. But thank you all for being here as I finally finished this chapter of Villainess level 99. I may be the hidden boss, but I'm not the demon lord. Written by Satori Tanabata and illustrated by T.